My brain's splitting off in so many different directions. My brain's splitting off in so many different. My brain's splitting off in so many different directions that no one has the answers to. My dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? Questions that no one has the answers to.
I'm Jerry McGrew.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we're in the middle of X-Statix, the series that X-Force morphed into that is extremely good. We're having a great time with this kind of inversion of a classic superhero story. This series is so good, Gary. I'm having such a blast reading this.
I know. It's real fun. And again, this being the part of, like, Duckfeed is positive now.
Yes.
Between this and the Venture Brothers show. Duckfeed likes things again. I don't know what happened. This is also like a little crossover because the cover for this is done by Frank Whiteley.
Yep. Because he makes Edie Sawyer look almost exactly like his Jean Grey.
Yep. And his dead girl is real weird looking.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on there.
Nope. Big Emma Frost
yeah.
energy over there.
Yeah.
So it's this. So to catch everybody up, we're in the middle of an arc. The team has been fractured. The team has been fighting with one another. One of the team members, Vinny Milo, is legally not allowed to go be on the team anymore. And in the midst of this, Arnie Lung, who is this teenager from Nowhereville, America, who is obsessed with Edie because she helped him come out of a coma. And he has world reality altering powers. He has taken over this town.
The ultimate simp.
The ultimate simp.
So they should have called it.
Man, why are you simping so
If your girl
much?
gets you out of a coma, you're the super simp.
Come on, G. What are you doing? Get out your coma yourself. That's what. Imagine the pickup artist community of like, go into a coma, get out yourself.
I can't believe that this Twitch streaming lady got me out of a coma. Simping. Big simping, spending G's.
Absolutely. So Arnie's taken over this town. The O-Force, the competitive team to X-Statix, was sent in. They're not doing very well. So Guy, our main character, has decided to go in without his team, and that's where we ended the last issue. And we're going to pick up pretty much right where we left off. The cover of this is very cool, which is just Guy surrounded by women. As we mentioned, It's Dead Girl, it's Venus de Milo, and it's Edie, and it's also, is that supposed to be Ocean? Is
that's Ocean?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They needed to have another, so Ocean's not that important of a character.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even see her face. Like, her back is to the camera. So.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a super cool cover. And he's surrounded by skulls as well.
Yeah.
Which, like Zorns, multiple Zorns.
Extremely, extremely happy that you guys, speaking of the Venture Brothers podcast, remembered the legacy of Skull that we have all agreed on when Gary dies. I was listening to that and I texted Brian Wade and I'm like, dude, you need to listen to this. And he's like, yep, it's mine. Yep, I remember.
I can't wait until he gets into a fight with like my girlfriend or wife when I die. And he's like citing a podcast as evidence. And like the judge is just sitting through the Summer of Cum on Abject Suffering.
Oh, no. It's
like,
it's Warcraft 3 WAF. I remember.
Oh.
So imagine going to the lawyer.
Your Honor, if I'd like to submit to evidence the Watch Out for Fireballs episode on Warcraft 3. I know what all those words mean separately, but that makes no sense together.
Imagine the judge being like, can we listen to this at like 2 speed? And Brian Wayne go, no, absolutely not.
Your Honor, I objection. Speeding up podcast makes them sound unnatural. So we get into it right where we left off, where Ocean is being menaced by zombies.
Yes.
Here. And I feel like this is really well observed, where she's like, I'm already really hurt. You don't have to hurt me anymore.
So good.
Well, it's like, they're so used to like playing pretend, like it's just like, you just kind of like shoot lasers over each other's heads until you fall down. but this is real. Guy Smith shows up, actually, and I love this too, where he's like, oh, it's you, Overkill ran off to leave me to die. And he says, try to stay calm. Everything's going to be okay. And she's like, you're so wrong. Nothing is ever going to be okay again. He's like, I guess that's one way of looking at things.
You're so wrong is a really great, you're so wrong. Like, that's not even close to right.
Yeah, I have no legs.
My legs are gone. That's very funny. Dupe has followed Guy, by the way, so we're getting kind of live footage as Dead Girl and Anarchist are in some sort of diner, hearing this stuff on the news, specifically hearing the newscasters say, where's the rest of the team? And Tyke blowing out the TV as that happens. And Fat is coming back to the headquarters saying, like, yeah, I have nowhere else to go. And they're kind of talking about going to help Guy. It's like, can we just watch? Like, he's like, can we just watch something else instead of helping? Like, let Venus go do it.
Yeah. So it's sad. The team is kind of looking on this stuff and are feeling their guilt. The person who ultimately ends up making them take action is Venus de Milo, who teleports Spike to Solomon O'Sullivan's office. And basically says, like, listen, you need us. We need to talk. Your team is dying. We can help. You need X-Statix. And Solomon O'Sullivan is drunk, and the words that go on his chest, remember, he's a mutant. He gets this red words. It's like spreading, like he's getting more and more words on his skin. He's going to be completely covered soon.
Mm-hmm. And he's freaking out about this. Like, what does this mean? What does any of this mean? And Spike is just like, you're a mutant, man. Deal with this. Like, this should happen to you. And Solomon basically agrees to sign this contract, which nullifies the original contract, while his lawyer buddy, who's like watching over this, is like, don't do this. This is bad business. And then calls him a loser, which I think is very, very funny. And from there, we go back over to Guy, who is walking away from the no-legged ocean, saying, like, I promise I'm not going to leave you. I have to go deal with this, when he sees a vision of Edie, who immediately starts guilt-tripping him, saying, like, oh, you're always
leaving women to die.
Exactly, yeah. And he realizes this is fake, but still can't stop himself from trying to touch her. And, of course, when she does, she calls him a sucker for falling for it.
Yeah, his hand goes through her. Mm-hmm. And Arnie is the one who's doing this. Like, you can't run from your guilty heart, as he sprints away. We cut back over to Venus de Milo trying to get the team together. She's in this hotel room with Dead Girl and Tyke, being like, he's your friend. Like, you can't afford to wallow in self-pity here. And he's like, what about the other guys? And like, you lead the way. You have seniority. If you come back, they will too.
Yeah.
And Dead Girl backs her up. Like, he's faking this whole thing. This whole thing is just an easy way out. It's a front. I thought he'd let me in and see what's real, but what do I see? It's just a scared, self-denying, guilt-ridden, washed-up excuse for a mutant who's not even fun anymore.
Ouch.
And that snaps him out of it. We go back to Guy and Arnie fighting in Arnie's room. Like, ninja kicks open his door.
Fucking great, dude. The angle on this is bonkers to me, because it's like he's like, we're looking up, but like, the kick is going down, so it almost looks like he jumped up on the ceiling and then came down through the door to get more velocity, and I think it's very funny. Also, it's
like the arc of Ninja Turtles when they kick in the video game.
Yeah.
He does that jump kick. He's doing that.
He's doing the 45-degree angle down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Dive Kick, by the way? Did you ever play that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dive Kick is interesting.
Yeah, I like that game. I don't like it a lot. I think I would like it a lot more if I had like local people to play it against, but I thought it was like real interesting for what it was. Like, I thought it was going to be completely stupid. So.
It's fascinating. Yeah. When Arnie meets him, there's a great line where he's like, oh, you're here. You're a little taller than I imagined. Maybe you're wearing platforms. I hear a lot of the stars wear platforms. Tom Cruise, Cyclops.
Got him.
Got him in one. And I love all of this like dialogue here where he's like, you have to stop. People are getting hurt out there. And he points to his chest and saying, people are getting hurt in here. Like teenage self-interest.
It's very funny to me. And Arnie's mom comes in and is like, I tried not to get him to come in. He wouldn't listen to me. And he's like, no, I can take care of this. And he throws Guy through the window and out the door for a while and into a herd of zombies. As the zombies come up, Guy says, "Who are you? My jury?" And they just started announcing themselves of like, "I'm Nathan Melody, born 1888, dead 1911." Like, just start actually like. I just loved the fact that they give their biography, not their biography, just like their details. Right? It's very funny.
Yeah, their birth and death dates. Mm-hmm. For a second, Guy is like, "Oh, maybe Arnie could bring back the dead." No, these are just puppets.
Yeah.
He's about to die. He's getting killed by zombies. Like, what a fucking way to go. And then Venus de Milo saves him.
Yes.
He says it's too dangerous to be alone. And then Anarchist shows up and says, "Who said anything about alone?" And the team is reunited. This is the big triumphant moment. And because it's X-Statix, there's a little joke where Dead Girl says all these dead people running around are devaluing the currency.
Yeah. And notable in this like kind of splash image of everybody fighting is that Fat has his powers back, right? Like, which we hadn't, he's been unable to access those powers. And when Guy remarks on this, he's like, "Yeah, like me and Miles had a rap and now we're cool." And Miles says, "Yeah, we came to the conclusion that we're both homosexual, but we're just not attracted to one another. Like, they were pretending to be gay and pretending to be a couple for headlines, for news, for interest, but then realized when they tried to sleep together that they didn't actually like each other." So it's a whole big long saga of what their actual sexuality is, which is kind of weird and interesting. Like, I don't know.
While blowing up zombies.
Yeah, all the time while blowing up zombies. Yes.
Yeah, and it's good. Like, the idea that like, those kind of confusing feelings where it's like, well, I'm gay. Like, I should be with a guy. This is a guy. He's objectively like good looking. Like, kind of confusing that stuff felt really real to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember when I was first kind of like became a sexual being, like just being like, girl, and not really thinking about like whom was attractive.
Yeah.
To me, it was just kind of like, and I'm not saying that about gay people that they do that, but as far as like learning your sexuality and stuff, like this kind of felt well observed to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when you get old enough to understand what like attractiveness is and like what your own repression could or could not be, and you start questioning those things that you just assumed about yourself. But like, I don't know, like when you start out, you can see two hills and be like, now I have a
totally
heart on. Like,
there's I know I've recommended this before, but the masturbation episode of that Pen 15 show is really well observed with that. Like, one of the characters is looking at a National Geographic of sand dunes, and it's just like, oh, it's like very relatable.
Did you? I know you mentioned that show, and I don't remember if we talked about it on air or not. But did you get like a weird sense of that's not like the era that you should be nostalgic for? Like, it felt like 10 years too late for me somehow. Like, I just don't like.
Oh, yeah, it totally is.
Okay.
Like, it is 10 years too late.
Yeah,
but it was also like they're going through the same stuff. Like, there were parts of it that felt very relatable.
Yeah, it was a weird thing where like the show, I could tell the show was doing everything to make me nostalgic about it, and I was like, but I'm not. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I didn't do any of this stuff. So it was a weird like headset to get into when we were watching it.
Later in it, there was some nostalgia stuff. Like, there's an AOL Instant Messenger episode, and I was like, oh, I lived through that.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't like a kid, but that was like definitely a thing. Away messages and like putting up quotes and stuff.
Oh yeah. I know people that put lyrics to their favorite songs or to really sad songs in their Discord status. So.
Now in 2020
right now, dude. Hold on, let me see if I can find one. I'll read it for you. Let's see who is on my friends list that has this going.
Come on,
Brian Wade says all must stand upon the cauldron. What does that mean, Brian Wade?
I'm taking back my skull.
Jala says probably doing things. My friend Niz says
that's fine.
And the skeletons in both our closets plotted hard to fuck this up, which I think is very funny.
Oh yeah. I just it's better than having everybody hurts sometimes or whatever.
True that. I'm reasonably sure that's and the skeletons in both our closets thing is a quote from the new Taylor Swift album. Like, if I know Niz, who does not listen to this show, if I know Niz, that is definitely. I'm still this is just random, but I'm friends with Patrick Klepek on Discord. from when we did the Just Don't Give Up Skeleton episode. So every once in a while, and I never go to like the friend section on Discord, but like every once in a while when I do, they have that like active now section. It's like Patrick Klepek listening to Spotify, and it shows me what he's listening to, and I'm like, this is creepy. I don't need to know that.
Yeah, that's weird.
This is super strange. Yeah. I don't need to know that he's playing World of Warcraft. Why do I know that?
That's why I have like all of the friendship factors through like gaming networks I've like turned off.
Yeah.
I eventually went on and was just like, I'm going to turn on my privacy for all these things and not respond to any friend requests because I don't need people to know what video games I'm like playing at the time. Like, why would I invite somebody to know that? So they could distract me from it.
If you look at my PSN, it's like I haven't logged in. It says I haven't been active since like 2018. Yeah. I just have all this shit turned off. Yeah.
Well, and that was like the big marketing thing. It was just like, you know, it no longer just is a video game thing. This is where you're going to hang out with your friends, you know? And I'm like, I have ways to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
You know,
it's called going to strip clubs. I don't need video games there.
Well, even if I hang out with them in video games, I don't need you to like facilitate it. Xbox Live, you know, I can just text them.
Well, and then to like, you know, to complain about it, when Monster Hunter World came out, like we set up a Duckfeed clan, right? So that like people would be more, so it'd be easier for Duckfeed people to play with Duckfeed people, right? Like that was the idea. So I started the clan because I was like playing it a lot, and I was like, okay, well, this is something I could probably manage, and then just pass it off to somebody. And to join the clan, like, was a Byzantine process. It was fucking crazy here. Like, I had to be online. I had to be friends with the rando that wanted to be in the Duckfeed clan and Monster Hunter. And then like he had to send they had to send me a thing within the game, and then I had to like approve it and then like go down and specifically add them to the list of people that would show up. And I'm like, didn't they say that all of this would be way easier in this generation? Like, why the fuck am I doing this? And then I stopped playing Monster Hunter World and then just abandoned the clan. So I don't know what's happening with that bad boy right now.
You've abandoned your clan?
I abandoned the clan. You have a lot to learn
from this arc of X-Statix. Me and Derek have been playing Wolfenstein Youngblood once a week and having to like log on to our Bethesda accounts and become like special Bethesda buddies was really obnoxious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All that stuff fucking sucks. What a bummer. In the issue, you know, the team has taken out the zombies. So Mr. Sensitive is going to go and talk to Arnie. We cut over to a mob kind of descending on Solomon O'Sullivan because O-Force was this like fake, you know, the public feels duped. Like this was just a reality show. They didn't even have powers. They were just special effects. And Sharon Ginsburg reveals herself to be a mutant. She has wings and she saves him. And basically says, like, I'm saving you because you and I are going to make it our mission to bring down X-Statix. If you don't agree, I'm going to drop you. Setting up a subplot for a little bit.
I am terrified of this woman's flesh wings. Like,
yeah.
Normally,
it's gross. They're just made of skin.
Yeah, normally when we see wings, they're like a different color, different texture, feathers, or you know, metal rods or something like. But the flesh wings, like, I don't know why it's creepy because it's pink. Like Sauron's wings don't freak me out, but here we are.
Yeah, these are worse than bug wings.
These are worse than bug
worse
wings.
Than Angel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cut over to Guy Smith and Arnie talking. Like the name of this issue is Guy and Arnie Talk About Edie Sawyer. Is the name of the story, and that's what happens here. You know, he's mourning. Like Arnie is just like, yeah, it isn't the same without her. You know, and Guy Smith's like, yeah, I know that. Like I'm Mr. Sensitive. Like, you know, I was in love with her, you idiot. You know, we're like all of this stuff that you're talking about. Like you don't know shit. You don't know anything about this. Like you never even met her. He's like, well, yeah, you can love her. You don't need to meet someone to love them. Have you ever heard of internet romance? Which is very good.
And to Guy, this is all like beside the point because he's here to be judged. Like he's like, you know, we're supposed to be talking about whether I deserve to live or die. And when Arnie asks about, you know, what was she really like in person? And Guy answers like, you know, difficult, bright, moody, sometimes downright impossible. And he's like, well, it sounds like you don't like her very much. It's like, I loved her, you damn freak. I loved her more than anybody I've ever loved. Like, and that's what somebody like Arnie is just too young and too not well experienced enough to understand is that feeling of love is way more complicated than just adoration.
Yes.
And of course, when he's when Guy is kicking this back, Arnie starts to use his powers. Like, I can just, you call me a freak again, I can peel your skin off of your bones. And he's like, freak, 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 which are really like, Guy's in a really shitty and adolescent place right now. It's very funny.
Arnie, he's like, well, I could kill you before you could do that. And Arnie's like, I could blow you up. But that's what you're supposed to be able to do, right? You're a hero. You're supposed to be willing to die to kill me if I'm so dangerous. We cut over to the rest of the team. Walking the just kind of a superfluous scene of them just evacuating people, until Arnie's mom interrupts them as they're about to kill each other with milk and cookies. And Arnie's like, Mom, we're just deciding on whether to kill each other or not. And she's like, why would you do something like that? Why would you do something so silly? And he's like, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we deserve a chance. Maybe we all deserve a chance.
I love that he, like, because there's a panel that is just the chocolate chip cookies. like in the sequence of events, this guy's like, maybe we do deserve a chance, and then he looks significantly at the cookies. Like, I feel like that was the line in the script, right?
I wish there was an editor note that was like, X-Statix number 4, first appearance, cookies. There's like an official handbook of the Marvel Universe entry on these cookies.
I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of wish that I was kind of hoping that we would get to this issue or this panel, and you'd be like, and this is going to come up again later.
I'll watch for it this time. If it does, I didn't notice it, but that'd be amazing if it did. Like the cookies join the team. Like,
I got somebody pointed out a thing in Community that I never noticed, which, like, apparently there's a whole subplot of Abed like falling in love with a woman and like her being pregnant, and like, but it all happens in the background. You never notice, and he ends up delivering the baby. And I'm like, how have I never noticed this happening in all of this? So, like, it goes over like 10 episodes or something. This subplot, it's insane. I don't know how people.
That's fascinating.
That. Yeah, I'll see if I can find that and send it to you. Arnie doesn't make, but Guy gets Arnie to help Ocean regrow her legs back, and it's like, does this dude is even aware of how powerful he is? And kind of cagily is like, is he aware of the little problem I picked up on back in his bedroom? Ocean's fine.
It'll pay off next.
Everything's going to be okay
issue.
with her. It's super good.
Yeah, I love this little bit where he says, mending things is just as much fun as breaking them. And he's like, that's a very dangerous idea, Arnie. Like, this guy does not need to be creating life. No. He's sending him off to Professor Xavier, and he's like, he'll be expecting you. He's helped many of us in the past. Say goodbye to your mother. It's the best I can do. Like, we're going to say you died in the night. That's going to keep the media off your back. He goes, I have a better idea. I've got a better idea, and making me mad is a bad idea.
Yeah.
So we go back to the team. They're very popular now, having done this. Guy Smith even says, like, "Oh, it's almost like you planned it, Spike." And he says, "No, I didn't do that." But he's being coy.
Yeah, because O-Force failing so much has brought the press back on their side, so everybody loves them.
Yeah.
So yeah. And Guy comes in with a huge surprise because they're saying, like, oh, we need to get another team member in. And Guy's like, nope, I've got something to say on that subject. Everybody meet Arnie, your new teammate. And everybody is shocked to see this because, of course, they are. I love this scene of just everybody like going, what in the fuck? Are you serious?
His costume is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a one-piece like ghillie robe.
Yeah,
I know. He's wearing a onesie.
It really
X-Statix onesie.
It reminds me, since I just was on Orb, it really reminds me of Dr. Venture wearing the Impossible suit before he figures out how to like suck it up. Like it's very like it has all those extra rolls that it doesn't need to have.
Before it's impossibly comfortable.
Before it's impossibly for a smooth 70 degrees. Yeah, that's the issue. And I like the way this wraps up a lot. Like the conversation here. I always like it when the things are resolved by like dialogue. And it's interesting that, like, I really like Guy's arc in this of trying to deal with his own grief of like seeing the mom come in and being like, that's such a silly thing to do. And he's like, it really is. I'm being such a dumbass right now. Like, what am I doing? Like, this is a teenager that I'm like trying to work out my feelings for a woman that is not even related to either one of us. Like, this is ridiculous. I really think this is handled very, very well.
Well, it's also really well observed in that, like, sometimes when you're in a fight and, it's really easy to just kind of one-up one another. like continually just escalate things until somebody comes in and interrupts the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like one person's like, wait a minute, let's slow down. This is dumb. Like, I don't need to just +1 everything you say and fire something back. And that's kind of what they were in. It feels very real. And this twist at the end is really interesting. Them having to like have them join the team. Like the arc could have ended here with him going off to Professor Xavier.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a thing, but this is X-Statix. Like they're not going to do it, that straight laced. Which is part of why it's so great.
Yep.
Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you specifically. If you want to get episodes early or support your boys, join us on the Slack, get a bunch of cool extra shows, head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
You have a couple of days before, I think this comes out the Wednesday before Duckstream 2020, where we're going to spend 48 hours raising money for charity. There's all kinds of cool stuff planned, including this podcast covering the New Mutants movie. We're going to be doing some blind Bloodborne playthroughs. We're going to be basically just having a really great time raising money, as we always do every year. So twitch.tv/DuckFeed.tv. You can also go to Duckfeed.tv/Duckstream and see a bunch of links and buy the cool shirts and all that kind of stuff. Fun times ahead. So do all of that. Tell your friends about the podcast, and we'll be back in a couple of days.